Right. Hello, algebra. Today we are going to talk about the calculator that you get to use on your state test and how it can be very handy using this calculator in order to solve some different things. So the calculator you get on your state test is essentially the Desmos graphing calculator. It might look a little bit different from this one. I think they updated it slightly, so cosmetically it might look a little bit different, but essentially the features are going to be the same. So pretty much that Desmos graphing calculator that we're familiar with, that we've been using before throughout this entire year, you have on your state test. Oops, I try to grab my thing. So once again, this little calculator, you have your little, you can type down here, you have all your little features. You can have your plus sign where you can add in a table or expression like we've used before. All those things are here on your graphing calculator. We're going to talk about how we can use this calculator to help us solve for different styles of questions very, very easily on your state test. So that when you encounter some hard questions that we would typically have to solve algebraically, we can just jump to this calculator, have it do all the work for us, and then we're good to go. All right, so the first thing is if we need to find points on a graph, use the calculator. It's super easy. All right, so let's say the equation is 5y minus 2x equals 5. These are all state test questions that I'm showing you as well. So just getting familiar with that format as well. So say they give you an equation, 5y minus 2x equals 5. Create an ordered pair that represents 1 point on the graph. So we just need to find 1 point on the graph. So all we have to do is go to this calculator, do 5y minus, I believe, 2x equals 5. All right, so it's graphing me my line here. I already see that highlights a point right there. So negative 2.50. That's easy. I can do that as a point. Negative 2.50. And I'm already done with that question. Super easy, super simple. All right, the equation is shown. Select all the points that are that contained in the graph of the equation. So our equation is y equals 1/2 x plus 3/4. So let's first graph that. So y equals 1/2 x. Oh, my x is in my denominator. Let me get over there. 1/2 x plus 3/4. And let's see which points are on this graph. All right, so I'm going to start with 0, 1/2. So if I go over 0, up, that's 0.75, 0, 1/2. Another thing we can also do actually is we can, let's throw in a table. So if I do 0 and then 1/2, does that point fall on the graph? No, so 0, 1/2 is not a solution. Then I can try 0, 3/4. Go down to another point, 0 over 3 over 4. Hey, that point does fall on my graph, so I know that is a good one. So this is another point. And you could then go through each of those points and you can easily see, does it fall on the graph or does it not fall on the graph? Super easy when all you have to do is just plug in the information into the Desmos graphing calculator and have it plot for you. So that's why we want to get really, really familiar with this. So anytime you have to find a point on a line or on a graph or an equation or like a specific point, like the y-intercept or the vertex or something like that on a graph, plug it on or put it onto Desmos and then just look at it. Give yourself a visual piece of information. If you need to find the solution of two equations, so oftentimes we've done systems of equations. We did linear quadratic systems last week, and we did systems of equations back in January, might have been December, where we had like two lines and you had to see where those lines intersected. Same idea. So let's say we have a system of equations just given. Y plus 2 equals 3 quantity x minus 1, and y equals negative 2x plus 10. What is the solution? All we have to see is where do these lines intersect. So let's graph both of them. So our first one was y plus 2 equals, I believe it was 3x minus 1. 3 quantity x minus 1. And okay, so that's our first line. And then our second equation was y equals negative 2x plus 10. So y equals negative 2x plus 10. I have both these lines. I see they cross right here. 3, 4, that's my solution, and I'm done. So all I had to do was type into the calculator, and then I am good. So these questions can become super, super simple as long as you remember just to use that calculator. One of our methods of solving systems equations was graphing, so use the easiest method. Don't worry about having to use all those longer algebraic methods, because remember, another thing about this test is you only have 90 minutes. You have 90 minutes for like 25-ish questions. So make sure you give yourself enough time to answer all those questions. So if a theater sells tickets for a concert, the tickets for lower level seats sell for $35 each. The tickets for upper level seats sell for $25 each. The theater sells 300 tickets for $10,250. How many types were sold? So in this one, we have to think a little bit harder. It's not just plug information into the calculator and solve for this one. We will be able to do that, but first thing we need to do is we need to figure out how can we solve the equation of this question. What are the equations that it's asking? Because they didn't try to just give us the information to put in the calculator. All right, so first thing is we have two types of tickets. You have lower level tickets that are $35 each, and then you have upper level tickets that are $25 each. And then we were told the theater sold 350 tickets for a total of $10,250. So I'm going to say I have two variables. I have my lower level tickets and my upper level tickets. So my lower level tickets, I know together the number of lower level tickets plus upper level tickets. Together, this equals 350 tickets. They sold a total of 350 tickets between the two. 350 lower level and upper level together. Now, if I think about both of these tickets, though, I know that the lower level tickets sold for $35 a piece, and the upper level tickets sold for $25 a piece. So 35 times the number of lower level tickets, 25 times the number of upper level tickets should be the total amount that was sold for those. And I know in total, the total amount that was 250. So if I add those pieces together, it should equal a total of 10,250. So 35 per lower level ticket plus 25 per upper level ticket, all together for all 350 tickets sold was 10,250. Now these are two equations right here that I can plug into Desmos. Now, unfortunately, Desmos does not allow you to just use random variables. So I can't use the variable L and I can't use the variable U. They only allow for X and Y. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to change all of my L's to X's and know that lower level stands for X. And I'm going to change all of my Y's, or all my upper level tickets, my U's, to Y. And now I just have these two equations. I can plug them into my calculator, and I'll get my solution. So let's do X plus Y equals 350. Sorry, missed the X part. X, nope, wrong button. X plus Y equals 350. That's our first equation. And our second equation was 35X plus, I believe, 50Y, 25Y, sorry, equals 10,250. All right, now you're not seeing anything on the graph. That's because our answer is pretty far away. So what we got to do is we just got to zoom out until we can start seeing some information. Oh, there we go. I see I got a little dot right here, so you might not be able to see it very well. But it's 150 and 200. And I know X represented my lower level tickets, Y represented my upper level tickets. So I know X is 150, so it's 150 and then 200. That was our upper level tickets and lower level tickets. And that's our solution. Super simple. All we had to do was really come up with the equations. The rest of it was already graphed for us. All we had to do is plug it into Desmos. All right, what two numbers have a sum of 217 and a difference of 85? This one's a little odd. Two numbers have a sum of 17 and a difference of 85. Now you can just start guessing and checking and plugging in some numbers to see which two numbers add together to get 217, minus together to get 85, or we can think about this. So I'm looking for two numbers. I'm going to say my first number is X, my second number is Y. I know that they have a sum of 217, which means that they add together to equal 217. And they have a difference of 85, which means X minus Y, or one of the numbers minus the other, has to equal 85. So they add together to equal 217. They subtract to equal 285. This is two equations. I can plug these two equations in my calculator, and I'm done. Super simple. All right, so I know x plus y equals 217. That's one equation. And then x minus y equals 85. Oh, there's an equation. I see they cross at 151 and 66. So 151 plus 66 equals 217. 151 minus 66 equals 85. Sorry. And so my two answers would be 151 and 86. Sorry, 66. And those would be my two solutions. So once again, this graphing calculator is super, super, super nice. It's super handy. Can graph so many things for us super easily and help us find a lot of different solutions. And it's also good just to see different examples of these types of questions that they ask. So another example. A total of 30 children and adults who attended a school play. There were 12 times as many children in the attendance as there were adults. This situation is modeled by the given system of equations where A represents the number of adults, C represents the number of children. How many? So we have C equals 21 times A, and A plus C equals 330. How many children attended the play? So we're trying to find the number of children. So we're trying to find C. Now, once again, they gave us the equation, so this is super simple. We can just plug them in, but we can't plug them in when it has a different variable. So we need to just change it into X and Y. So I'm going to change all my C's into X's, all my A's into Y's, and then I can plug in these two equations. I just have to figure out what is the X, because I remember I'm solving for children, which I know children is X. So we'll do X equals 21Y. So X equals 21. Y is our first equation. And then our second equation is X plus Y equals 330. And I see these two lines cross right here, which is 315, 15. Now, once again, I'm just solving for X, so I just know there's 315 children attending this play. And I am done. Super simple, super easy. All right, so evaluating functions on the calculator. We can evaluate functions super easily. I know function notation isn't something that we typically like. It's kind of confusing, a little bit awkward, but we can evaluate functions on the calculator super, super easily as long as you're familiar with that function notation and plugging it in. So let's say we have the function shown. F of x equals 2x plus 3. What is f of the value of f of 12? Now remember, this is saying what is the input, or if I input 12 into this function, what is the number that I get out as an output? But luckily, all we have to do is just really type in this function notation into the calculator, and it will do all the hard work for us. So all we have to do is go to our calculator, and we're just going to type it in exactly how it looks. So we're going to do, I got to change my, so we're going to f, and this is a little bit easier on your computer. F of x equals, I think it was 1/2 x plus 12, 2/3 x plus 12. 2/3 over x plus 3, not 12. 2/3 x plus 3. All right, so this is our function. F of x equals 2/3 x plus 3. Now, in that next column, in order to evaluate the function, all I need to do is type in f of 12. We're told to evaluate 12. So I just need to type in this part into the calculator, and it's going to spit out my answer for me. So it sees that this is my function, f of x equals 2/3 x plus 12, or 2/3 x plus 3. If I type in f of 12, it tells me my answer is 11. I didn't have to look at anything on the graph, just type it into the calculator, and it evaluates our function for us. So f of 12 equals 11, and we're good. All you have to do is type it in, and you're done. Same idea with this when they have like a table. Ryan works for a delivery service. The function f of n is used to calculate his daily pay in dollars on the day when he makes n deliveries. So f of n equals 7n plus 96. Use this function to complete the table. Now, it says f of n. Typically, I'm using f of x. I'm going to change it to f of x just to make it consistent with Desmos. But all I have to do is type that function into the calculator, and then I just have to type in, okay, number of deliveries, 0. Number of deliveries, 5. And then we'll talk about the last one. It's a little bit harder for that one. But let's type in this function in the calculator first. F of x equals 7x plus 96. I'm just going to get rid of this. Get rid of that. So f of x equals 7x plus 96. So they gave us the calculator, or they gave us this equation. Now, if we look at the number of deliveries, we know the number of deliveries represents n. That's the number that we're plugging in. So if I type in f of 0, f of 5, it's going to tell me what information I should plug into these two pieces. And that's all I need to do to type in my calculator. So f of 0 and f of 5, we can type in. So I get f of 0 is 96. And I can do f of 5 is 131. And then those are my two pieces of information I put into this. So I got 96, 131. Now, for the other one, they're trying to tell us what is the x value that gives us an output of 145. This one's a little bit harder. But what we can do is if I type in 140 or 145, or sorry, if I type it, I know the second half of that column, my number of dollars paid, this is the y value of my function. This is the x value. This is my y value. So if I look at the y value and type in, I know y is equal to 145. I can type that into my calculator. Y equals 145. And I can see that my function crosses that value of 145 at 7. After 7 deliveries, I will earn $145. So this is going to be 7. And that's going to give us 145. So super simple to evaluate functions. Once again, all we have to do is just type it into the calculator. We'll do one last example of that, and we'll be done with that. So f of x equals 2. It even works for any type of function. So f of x equals 2 to the power of x plus 3. What is the value of f of negative 2? Once again, all we have to do is just type this into the calculator, and we're good. So there we go. F quantity x equals 2 to the power of x, which we can use this button right here. Gives us to the power of x. Or you can use your shift 6. I won't be able to tell you how to do that on your calculator or on the state test, so you need to know how to do that. Plus 3. So that's our function. And we're looking for f of negative 2. Type it in the calculator. They told me it's 3.25. So my answer is 3.25. That's a really bad 3 and a really bad 5. But that's okay. But once again, all this stuff gets super, super easy as soon as you learn how to use that calculator and as soon as you know how to use that calculator. So hopefully you've been using it throughout the year. You're getting familiar with it. But solving all these questions are super, super simple. Evaluating, finding solutions, all that stuff is super easy. Just use the calculator. One last thing that we can use the calculator. Say we need to solve the equation y equals x squared, or 0 equals x squared plus 3x plus 2. Let's say we need to solve this function. One way of solving it is using our quadratic formula. So like opposite of b plus or minus square root b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. And then we had to fill in our information for this. This was our quadratic formula that we just used. Once again, this is given to you on your reference sheet on your state test. So you do not have to have this memorized, but it's handy to know what it means. And we need to figure out what is A, B, and C. Well, A is 1, B is 3, C is 2. And I can plug this information into my calculator, or I could type this into this, which is negative 3 plus or minus the square root of 3 squared minus 4 times 1 times 2 all over 2 times 1. And this part here, I can type this whole thing into the calculator, assuming that I just split between plus and minus. I know at one point I have to do plus, one point I have to do minus. If I do both those in the calculator, I can type this whole thing in and let it solve the question for me. So I could get rid of this, and I could do, I'm going to start off with turning this into a fraction. So I have the two parts. So in my top part, I'm going to have opposite of b plus, I'm going to just do plus once, the square root of b squared minus 4 times a times c, all divided by 2 times a, which it tells me is -1. So one answer is -1. Now, the cool thing about this is I can go back and I can just get rid of that plus. I know it's plus or minus, so I'm going to change it to a minus now. So I have -1 and -2 are my two solutions to this quadratic. So x equals -1, x equals -2. And I didn't have to worry about doing any of that long part of the quadratic formula, all those steps. All I had to do is take that piece, plug it into the calculator, and I am done. And that's all we have to do. So that's where we're going to stop it for today. So once again, we're going to practice using this calculator, get familiar with that. If you have any questions about it, if you're having troubles learning how to use it, let me know, and I will help you do my best to learn it, or help me do your, I don't know, whatever I'm trying to say. Have a great rest of your day. Let me know if you need any help.